This is the second video of saving Elizabeth, a self-priming Toro lawnmower. We've repaired the rewinder. It's sitting over there with a nice, pretty new blue cord on it. And the reason this mower wouldn't start is the self-priming mechanism isn't working. And so it was never going to choke and then get enough fuel into the carburetor for it to work. Because if I push this, nothing happens. It's just stiff. It's locked. And when these things are working the way they should, with a very light touch, this arm will swing away, and then that is what opens up the choke plate. It gets the choke plate away. So right now, this mower is choked, and it will not move. This mechanism here is going to get hot from the muffler and push this out. Well, it's frozen, so it's not ever going to be working right. So let's take a look in here and see what's what. And to do that, I've got to get a 5/16 socket on there. I'm looking for my little hand one. I don't see it. Let me set the camera down a second. So I need to get a 5/16 socket on here, and we're going to look under this air filter and see if we can figure out why that's frozen. That arm should just be bouncing around and moving. The little spring is in place, so that's good to see. Let me just move that screwdriver's under here. Okay, I'll just use my electric drill. So I'm looking for a 5/16 socket, which is right there, or an 8mm will also work. All right, the air filter. Let me see. Get my flashlight here. I'm not seeing a lot of light there, but the air filter doesn't look too bad. I'd rather see more light coming through that from that flashlight. So let's set that to the side. Now we're going to take a look together and see what's what. So the choke plate is frozen open, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's go ahead and take off the, we're going to go ahead and take off this plate and see. May have to squirt some, well, that didn't work. Somebody's really tightened that one down, so hardly anything sticking up to even grab. So let me find a little better socket. Instead of 8mm, I'm going to find one of my newer 5/16. See if that'll help. That one might fit a little snugger. And I'm gonna get my ratchet on here and try that. There was hardly anything to grab on there. Try this now. Yeah, there we go. That's working a little better. You gotta remember that somebody has really screwed that in too tight and messed that plate up. at least be able to grab that. There's another type of screw on these Briggs that has a higher 5/16 on it. See how tiny that is. But, so I may switch that screw out. All right, so now I got to get these two out. Let me get that one started. And this one started. Yeah, somebody's really tightened these too much. I know. Okay, this plate will come off now. Just kind of wiggle it to get it, because you got to get it off that breather there. The little gasket is in pretty decent shape. So let's take a look at this carburetor again and see if we can figure out why. Oh, okay, somebody has been in here and they missed, let me get something really good to point with. They missed putting this pin right there in that groove. It has to go there for it to swing this plate around. So this thing is frozen because it's bumped up against that part of the carburetor. So what I have to do is take this screw out. That's a 1/4 inch, enough to where it's either loose or all the way out. Lift this up and move it over to where that pin is in that groove right there on this car. See, that does wiggle around a little bit, so it may be okay. So let's set it right there, and we are going to loosen this with my 1/4 inch socket. And this motor may run fine after we do this. Okay, so now I'm going to lift up and move it over to right where it's in that groove. Let me show you what I'm doing here. See, somebody had been into this engine and they had installed this wrong. They had it there. So it's never going to move this plate the way it's supposed to. It needs to be there in that groove, that little pin. So let's put it in there. And now, see, it's in place. It's in the groove now. Now I'm going to just finger tighten this thing down enough. Now use my drill. I don't want to torque it real bad, so let me ease up on that. Okay, taking the weight down. Now I'm going to go 1, 2, maybe 2 clicks. That's about it. Okay, now there we go. So let's see if this is operational now. It's almost working the way it should. I think if I squirt a little carb cleaner in there at the base, if I squirt a little carb cleaner at the base right there, and then shoot some up there at the top, that this will start working the way it's supposed to. So let me go get some carb cleaner. This is kind of exciting. This mower may have a lot of good things going for it. All right, so here's the face of the carburetor, and you can see this. See, now the choke plate's in place like it's supposed to, and it's moving pretty good. But I'm going to help it a little bit more by going a little squirt right there. Okay, and then I'm going to go up here with one up there, a little squirt there. Now watch this. See that? Isn't that wonderful? It's working perfect. Absolutely perfect. There is one final adjustment I want to make you guys aware of. Let's go take a look. Briggs & Stratton is kind enough to leave these little indentation marks to tell you where this thing needs to be. So there's one there, see that? And then there's one there. And that tells you that this arm needs to be between this one and this one. And then on this side, there's an indentation here and here. That means this piece needs to be somewhere in the middle, and right now it's over here, so that's not enough. Because what you want is this, as soon as this thing starts getting, this motor gets hot, it starts to move this, you want it to start pushing this air vane out of the way so that you get the choke plate moved out of the way, because you don't want to be choking your mower too long. So what I'm going to do is slightly bend this forward so it's between those two grooves. So let's do that now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bend that. I know this is far away, but at least I told you what I'm doing. And let's make sure that this is working properly. See that spring comes back? That means that's working. So that's good. Let me get a little screwdriver just to clean some of the trash away, because this thing does need to travel along this area. So if there's grass and built up dirt, I want to get that out of there. So this little arm, this little extension of this thermostat has a kind of a path to travel in, you know. That helped a little bit, I think. So let's try it again now. Let me show you what I just did. Okay, so what I did is I cleaned some of that debris out down in there, because this arm needs to travel. And so let's get this out of the way and watch this now. See how it pops back? That means it's going to work. It's not broken. Now, it's not quite between the two grooves, or the two indents. So I'm going to grab this and bend it forward. Maybe I can do it here on camera. Did you see that? So now look at that. See, it's in between the two indentions. So as soon as this gets hot now, it's going to go pretty quickly too. It goes boop, and then it starts to move this out of the way and get that choke plate out of the way. Okay, now that should come back, and it didn't, so that concerns me. See that? I don't want it sticking at all. So I'm going to go ahead and clean some more around here and make sure that arm comes back really easily. I suspect the trouble is right in there, and maybe with this screw here. So I'm going to loosen this a little bit. I'm going to take this screw out, and I'm going to clean along the shaft of it. See that guy? So I'm going to get me some sandpaper. Alright, I'm going to get me some sandpaper and use my electric drill to spin it around real fast. Okay. All right, See, so I've got that long screw in my electric drill, and I'm going to spin it like that and use this sandpaper to clean it. So I'm just cleaning a lot of this oxidation off of this screw here. Okay, I think that's going to work a lot better now. I still want to get it right down at the base. Okay, so let's see if this is smooth now. Okay, I'm not feeling resistance there. I'm hoping that what I just did is where the resistance was. So let's see if I can get this thing in there. I think that took care of it. So now it just bounces around like it's supposed to. And the indentations are there. I'm going to go ahead and bend it a little bit more forward. There we go. So it's still in the right spot. And it's dead center on those two. And it's working good. All right. That may be all this mower requires. So I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this, and we're going to come back and see if she runs okay and if she starts on by herself without any assist with starter fluid or anything. So stay tuned. We'll talk soon.